Welcome to Shalom World Podcasts.
Come and play with Katie and Koco. That's the way. Get ready, let's go. Flying through the air with Koco, telling stories with Katie. You and I together, meeting my friends that help us every day. Katie and Koco, play and sing, pray and bring. You and I, we do our thing. It's Katie and Koco.
Strong, brave, tough, scared, valiant. That's what makes a good warrior, Katie.
That sounds like a pretty good warrior to me.
Was your friend like that?
She was all of those things and more.
Wait, did you say she, your warrior friend, was a girl?
That's right.
Cool. That's even more Koco amazing than I thought. What's her name?
Saint Joan of Arc.
Yep. That sounds like a warrior's name. How did she become a warrior, though?
She was called by God to save her country, France, from the English. And to do that, she needed to lead the French army to victory.
Did she succeed?
Yes, but there were many challenges she had to overcome first.
I saw that coming. She wouldn't be one of your special friends if she wouldn't have any challenges, but God was helping her though. Her challenges, wasn't she?
He never left her, Koco. And neither did her special friends, Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, who spoke with her and told her what God wanted from her.
Wow, really? Was it them who taught her to save France from English?
Yep. As well as to lead the Prince of France, known as the Dauphin, to a city called Rennes, so he could be crowned king.
Right. That doesn't sound difficult at all.
Oh, not at all, Koco. Especially for a 16-year-old peasant girl who had never left her hometown.
Oh no! A peasant girl? God thinking God. How did she get anyone to listen to her?
With patience, prayer, and trust in God. To get permission to go to the royal court to see the Dauphin, she ended up having to predict a certain victory in a far-off battle that was going on just to convince her local commander that she really was hearing voices sent by God.
Yeah, they must have thought she was coconuts at first, but God showed them that he was on her side.
He did indeed. And when Joan finally arrived at the royal court, now dressed in armor like a knight, God made sure that she was taken seriously.
What did he do during this time?
Well, before Joan entered the throne room, the Dauphin decided to play a little trick just to make sure that he could trust her. He switched places with his advisor to try to confuse her, but when Joan came in and saw the advisor dressed as the Dauphin sitting on the throne, she knew that it was not the Dauphin. Instead, she looked through the crowd of courtiers until she finally caught sight of the Dauphin, dressed as his advisor. And she knew that it was him, even though she had never seen him before or knew what he looked like. She walked straight up to him and bowed, letting him know that she had not been fooled by his prank.
Wow, wasn't Joanne's friend in heaven who told her it wasn't the real Dauphin was?
You're catching on fast, Koco.
But what did Joanne do now that she was the Dauphin?
It took some convincing, but Joan was finally granted permission to lead an army to the city of Orleans, where the English had overtaken it, in order to reclaim it for France.
Did Joan actually fight in the battle then?
Yes, though she preferred to carry her banner rather than her sword, as she didn't want to kill anyone. She even got wounded by an arrow as she led her army forward. But her main focus wasn't on fighting. She only allowed fighting to happen as a last resort. First of all, she sent messengers to the English, imploring them to surrender so that Christians, as both the French and the English were, would not have to fight against other Christians. Sadly, the English refused to surrender. So, in preparation for battle, Joan insisted that every soldier in the French army go to confession and attend Mass before the fight began. Even though many of her men were going to lose their lives in battle, she didn't want any of them to lose their souls.
I'm liking Joan better and better the more you tell me about her, Katie. The soldiers must have loved having her with them.
Well, not quite. The captains in charge were happy to have her come along as moral support for the army, but they didn't like it one bit when she interfered with their decision-making, which often proved to be very beneficial whenever they gave in to her persistence.
Well, she was being told what to do by God's own saints, Katie. Why didn't the captains want her to listen to what she had to say?
Most of them were proud and hated the idea of taking military advice from a young peasant girl, no matter how much God might be talking to her.
Those men were coconuts.
I completely agree, Koco. But luckily, they listened to her enough that they eventually won the battle and drove the English out of Orleans altogether. This was a great victory. Until Joan had arrived, the French had only made one attack on the English, and they had lost. Now, Orleans was in French hands again, and Joan was given permission to lead her army to other cities that the English had overtaken. God granted her victory after victory, until the way into the city of Rheims was finally opened and the Dauphin was crowned King of France.
Yay! Coco amazing! Coco amazing! She did it, Katie! Joan really did it! Was she given a reward?
The Dauphin, now King Charles VII, made Joan and her family members of the French noble class. They were no longer commoners.
What an honor! I bet you I was really happy!
She was happy, but worldly glory was not her end goal. Her task of freeing France from the English still had to be completed.
Wait, you mean there were still parts of France that the English had no control of?
Yes, as well as some Frenchmen known as the Burgundians who did not support King Charles. She fought in many more battles, but was eventually captured by the Burgundians and imprisoned by the Duke of Burgundy.
Oh no! Did King Charles try to free her?
King Charles was trying to make a peace treaty with the Burgundians, so he didn't want to make any complications by demanding for her freedom.
What? After all she had done for him, he did nothing? So what happened to her then?
There were many members of the church who were concerned that her so-called voices that she received were either made up by Joan or did not come from God. They also didn't like that she took direct orders from God instead of submitting to the church in everything. So they questioned her for months and months while she was in captivity, trying to make her admit that her voices were not real.
Oh, poor Joanne! How could she admit to that when it wasn't true? Did she convince him in the end? Surely God gave them a sign to make them believe her.
No. Do you kids remember how Jesus was accused by his people and eventually put to death even though he had done nothing wrong? Now the time had come for Joan to share in Jesus' sufferings. When our brave friend still refused to tell them what they wanted, even when they threatened to torture her, she was given over to the English, who condemned her to death of the charge of being an enemy of the church.
No, Katie! How could they do that? Joanne saved France! How could they kill her?
Many years later, when they investigated her case again, it was agreed that she was innocent. But at the time, there were few who saw the truth.
Feathers and leaves! Did they give her any last chance to defend herself?
Joan, do you believe you are in the state of grace?
So they basically asked her if she thought she was going to go to heaven. But that's tricky. If she said yes, they'll say that she can't really know that for certain. But if she says no, then that would be like admitting that she hadn't been telling the truth at all.
If I am not in the state of grace, may God put me in it. If I am in the state of grace, may God keep me in it.
Joanne was very smart. No wonder they couldn't make her admit that she was lying. Did they still kill her though, Katie?
Yes. God wanted to take her home at last after all her sufferings. She was tied to a pole and burned to death by her cruel enemies. But her soul burned with love for God, and she kept her eyes on the crucifix that she had asked a priest to hold up so she could see Jesus on the cross as she died. And very soon, she saw Jesus himself alive in heaven along with his mother and her beloved friends who had spoken to her throughout her life and helped her through so many difficulties.
Koco, amazing! Joanne is the best warrior ever! I like this. She was a warrior for friends and for God.
Shall we ask her to help us be warriors for God too?
Absolutely!
Dear Saint Joan of Arc, thank you for listening to God and trusting him even in the greatest of challenges. Help us to always remain faithful to what God wants for us and to never be afraid to speak the truth. Please pray for France and for all Christians that we may always love and follow God like you did.
Amen!
Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour.
I like croissants too, especially chocolate croissants. Katie, can we get some?
No, we're in the middle of a show.
Can we pause it?
You can't pause something if you're in the show. You can only pause it if you're watching it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pause it right now.
No, Koco, don't press pause. If you press pause, hit pause, we'll get stuck. Wait, what? Who pressed play?
Look, a croissant.
Where did the croissant come from?
And it's got chocolate in it. I don't know, but I think it saved us from being stuck, and now I'm gonna eat it.
That's a nice way of thanking it, by killing it.
Croissants are meant to be eaten, Katie. I'm fulfilling its purpose.
Yeah, well, birds are meant to fly around in the forest, but here you are on TV.
Just tell me the riddle already, Katie.
Okay.
You're just sad that the croissant didn't fall in front of you.
I'm not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I? Can you think of anything?
Are you mud?
No. Does water kill mud? I think water makes mud grow more because mud is dirt with water.
You said grow.
But does mud grow?
Yeah, true. You got me, Katie.
Try something else. What is... What? Okay. What? Let's focus on one part of it. The water part of it?
Yeah.
What gets killed by water? So nearly everything needs water, right? But what gets killed by water?
Fire?
Yeah, you're right.
Fire! Oh, ouch. Fire is hot.
Yes.
Bye, kids. Adios.
That's Spanish, Koco.
That's Spanish, Koco.
Adieu. See you next time. Let's make our mark like St. Joan of Arc.
Come and play
with Katie and Koco.
that's the way.
Get ready, let's go.
Flying through the air with Koco,
Telling stories with Katie.
you and I together, meeting my friends, friends that help us every day,
Katie and Koco.
that help us every day.
Katie and Koco. Play and sing.
Pray and bring you and I, we do our thing. It's Katie and Koco.
Shalom World Podcast is now available on all online platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and others.